toggle output, function links. We will now program input 1.01 on the 24-volt input module to toggle output 1.01 on the 230-volt output module, turn on and off alternately. This is done in the installation window to the left. Start by expanding the inputs and outputs under the controller so that you can see the individual input and output terminals on the 24-volt input module. Start by expanding the inputs and outputs under the controller so that you can see the individual input and output terminals on the 24-volt input module and the 230-volt output module. The screen display will appear as follows. Now proceed as follows. 1. Click Input 1.01 and drag it, i.e. move the mouse while keeping the left-hand mouse key pressed, down onto Output 1.01. Note that while Input 1.01 is being dragged across the screen, a no entry sign will be superimposed above it until a relevant drop destination is reached. 2. When the mouse is positioned over Output 1.01, the no entry icon will change to a Windows link cursor, and you can now release the mouse key. 3. A pop-up box will now appear where you can select between a range of options. These options are called function links because, among other things, they link together inputs and outputs. One such function link is toggle. Select toggle by clicking it. Your screen display will now appear as follows. From a documentation viewpoint, the program is not yet complete, as you should now type in various information about the inputs and outputs you have used in your program. This information includes wire type and names which reflect the physical location of the inputs and outputs. If input 1.01 is physically connected to a low voltage switch mounted in the living room on the hall door, and output 1.01 is connected to the living room ceiling light, this information should be entered. The information for the individual inputs and outputs is entered by highlighting it and pressing F2. Enter the information below for output 1.01. A description of the individual fields in the Properties dialog is given below. Note, optional note on module, location, room in which module is located, position, position of module in room, cable type used for wiring the module's data line, cable number, wire color for wiring of terminals, initial value applicable to input or output at initial program startup or during simulation, save value if power lost, facility for saving the input or output value in case of power loss and for automatically reloading the value when power is restored. Many programming tasks can be performed by dragging inputs onto outputs and selecting function links to connect them. You can create several function links from an identical input to an identical or different output, and thereby combine several functions in the same push button. There are, however, more complex functions, such as fan control with run-on or heating control, which are difficult or impossible to achieve using function links. In these cases, function blocks are used.